Hi, welcome back to Halloween House. So today we're going to continue with our Rodney Alcala saga.
Yeah, it never ends.
It does end eventually, but a little too late if you ask me. So we're going to be talking about another victim and another lost opportunity to get Alcala off the streets for good and to save the lives of future murder victims.
We also strongly feel that Monique's story needs to be told and not looked over because it happened to be concurrent with the Robin Samson case.
Yes. So, her story tells of great courage and a resilience to survive and the determination to bring a monster to justice.
But she only was to be failed by a seemingly uncaring system.
Yes, and had the courts not so miserably failed again, the life of Robin Samson, Jill Parenteau, and possibly unknown victims surviving or taken by Alcala could have been spared.
Absolutely. Monique Hoyt was a runaway on the streets of Pasadena, California, when she had her horrifying encounter with Alcala.
She was 15 years old, and she had been living on the streets for about a year. She was a runaway, and her street smarts would allow her to survive the encounter with Alcala.
On February 13th, 1979, Monique was hitchhiking in downtown Pasadena. Alcala pulled up and asked her if she would pose for some photos for a contest.
Yes. And there was photography equipment in the car, so she did get in the car with them. He told her that he needed to stop by his apartment to pick up some more equipment.
By the time they got to the apartment, it was too dark to take photos, so they decided to spend the night at his home and do the photo shoot the next day.
So the next morning, they drove out to the mountains in Riverside County, California. Alcala parked the car, and he told her about a secret spot that was just perfect for taking photos.
They walked about 20 minutes into the woods, and they stopped at the location. He started taking photos of Monique while she was fully clothed, and then he asked her if she would mind posing in the nude, and she agreed.
Yes, and then he asked if he could take some goofy pictures of her, and he asked her to take her t-shirt and pull it over her face, and while she was holding her shirt over her face, he hit her in the head with the tree limb, and it knocked her out.
When she regained consciousness, she was being assaulted and tortured.
But she did continue to pretend that she was unconscious, and she did that as long as she could, but it was just too much, and she did start screaming.
He then took her t-shirt and stuffed it into her mouth. She kept screaming, so Alcala strangled her until she once again lost consciousness.
And when she once again regains consciousness, her wrists and ankles were tied, and Alcala was laying next to her, crying. And she used this opportunity to save her life. She became friendly with them. She told him that she wanted to spend more time with them. She asked if he was okay. She told him that she wanted to move into his apartment with them so that they could be together.
He fell for it, and he untied her. So they both got dressed and went back to his car. And on the way back to his apartment, he stopped at a gas station to use the restroom. And Monique said she would wait, and he left her in the car. The moment he entered the gas station, she made her escape.
And she ended up running to a nearby motel, screaming for help. A kind couple brought her into their motel room and called the police.
When Alcala returned to his car and saw Monique had escaped, he left and returned to his apartment alone. The police escorted Monique from the motel to the police department.
Have to add this. No.
Not the hospital.
Not the hospital.
Police
straight to the police department, not straight to the hospital.
Mm-hmm. She told them what happened, told them his name, and described what he looked like.
Yeah. And so they showed her a photo lineup, and she immediately picked out Alcala. Detectives drove to his apartment and arrested him for sexual assault. Not kidnapping, not attempted murder, nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Simple sexual assault.
Or even battery. His bail was set at $10,000, and his mom bailed him out.
$10,000. Thanks, Mom.
Yeah. In October of 1979, Alcala was to appear in court to face charges for his attack on Monique. Unfortunately and understandably, she was not mentally fit to testify against Alcala.
However, he would finally be convicted of his crimes against Monique in September of 1980, and he was sentenced to 9 years in California State Prison. But
It seems so futile because he was free after that attack and continued to seek out victims.
and had he been correctly charged, there would be no bail. It would have been a life sentence, but he was only charged with sexual assault.
Just like the Tally Shapiro case, he just got off with nothing.
Yes, and the Monique Hoyt case was ongoing with the Robin Samso case. And so Monique's case got lost in the shuffle, so to speak. And
Yeah, again, if he had been charged with more severe crimes or not given a low bail, maybe one of these victims would have been spared.
absolutely. And going back to the very beginning, as Tally Shapiro stated, Tally should have been his first and only victim, not the first of many. And I guess this same could be said, the same thing of his other surviving victims. Had they been taken seriously, had Alcala been charged and sentenced appropriately for the crimes he committed against these surviving victims, we wouldn't have a serial killer.
Yeah. Things were a lot different then, but then they're still a lot the same, too.
Yeah, the Alcala saga is just so mind-boggling.
Mm-hmm. There's so many chances to get him.
But because of the nature of the area, he was let go time and time again, and it would take one final victim to finally put an end to his reign of terror. So thank you very much for watching, and stay tuned. We're going to have an in-depth look at the Robin Samso case and his first trial, and this is what finally gets him off the street for good. Way too late. Way too many lost opportunities. Way too many ignored victims. So again, thank you for watching. Stay spooky.